Hayden, who I also saw commenting in the chat on the challenge. Hey, Hayden, good to see you. And he says, I'm currently experiencing regular and increasing levels of uncomfortability around an issue at home. We used to have a dog, Lola, who passed away several years ago. In the years after my son kept exclaiming he wanted a dog, but I was never that keen on the idea. At the time, I wanted to focus more on personal transformation and develop new habits and standards, and I didn't believe in having the level of responsibility. As my son stated, he'd be the dog's primary carer. I would only need to help out now and then. So despite my reluctance, he then came home with a dog, Sky, who's been with us now for about 18 months. Needless to say, my son has continually dropped the ball regarding certain issues around the dog's impact. Shocker, right? Was that not predictable? By the way, if something is ever predictable, don't ever get upset about it, right? However, I'm experiencing a fair amount of anger and resentment towards him, the dog, and the circumstances, which I figure is just my indecision around which archetype needs to step up, as my warrior is chomping at the bit and wants an argument. My lover, who wants to appease him, and my magician, who is mad and frustrated as doesn't seem to be able to muster up a meaningful working solution. I appreciate any insight on how I first resolved the conflict within myself, especially as the resentment around the compromisation of my freedom and cleanliness values is becoming very uncomfortable. Now, what Hayden is looking at is, okay, clearly my values for cleanliness and freedom are being violated. Well, that's a great opportunity to look at what the rules are. And by the way, if your values for love or family are higher, then it's already an easy call, right? But if your values for freedom and cleanliness are higher than your values for love, connection, or family, then there's going to be a problem. Everybody see that? Yeah? So let's just say and assume that the values are higher, and therefore it's a problem, which is what it seems to be, right? That is a beautiful opportunity to assess for a start. Also, if you look at what are my rules around that, for freedom or cleanliness, it doesn't mean to say that they're being violated for you. What it means is you haven't found a way to actually have them be met by having your son or dog fit more your pictures. Yeah. So there's a level of frustration of trying to impose as a responsibility of a parent, and also a responsibility for being able to be true to your own values. That's starting to create some friction. Now, let's be honest. Your son was never going to be the dog's carer, right? He doesn't even know how to look after himself, probably, right? So good luck with the dog. And kids will promise anything for the ice cream. Have you noticed that, right? So that's what it is. I personally believe that this is a great opportunity for you to evaluate what's most important, because life will give you those levels of tests. It's also a great opportunity for you to be able to go to the second part of your question, to step up and teach your son some amazing lessons that this scenario can offer and present. Now, when the warrior tends to want to get involved, the warrior is very much externally focused in execution and by me. The peaceful warrior is more through me and internal. But the average warrior energy is about execution in the outer world. It's natural. It's a by me level energy. So if the warrior is coming up because of anger, the warrior is going to want to get hold of the kid and say, listen, if you don't do this, then this will happen. I'm going to rehome the dog. I'm going to do this. For God's sakes, the 5th time I told you to hoover up after the dog, blah, 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 right? That's the warrior's natural go-to as an expression. And you don't want to blame the warrior energy for that, because it's useful when there's wood to chop, right? If you need it for the fire, you follow? So you don't want to temper that. You want to be able to say, okay, how do I elevate that from a place of through me instead of by me? And you look at that through the lens of, how is this an opportunity to be able to teach my son, not from an anger or frustrated energy that is going to collapse and compromise a whole load of stuff, but from a higher sense of purpose. Now, I spent some time with the heirs. I forget their actual first name. They've got 9 kids. They wrote a lot of books on parenting. I also, had a look at Greg Bear's work, which is Real Love and Parenting. And most of them have a common theme. Yeah, people that have spent a lot of time working out their dog situations with their kids. And it's a very calm, warrior-based energy that comes far more from through me than by me, in a world or the outer world. And I'll give you a tidy your room example, right? Which obviously relates to the dog or what have you. But keep asking to tidy the room, and the room's constantly a bag of trash. Now, parents that are hooked, sleeping awake, whatever, get drawn into by me, get frustrated, get angry, start shouting, say something they'll regret, impose grounding rules, but they do it with the energy of, right, dominance. Everybody follow? Because you're the parent. But if you do it almost with a nonchalant energy, but with a strict rule set, it's very interesting to see how kids react. Yeah. Meaning, let's say, going back to Hayden, his son has an allowance, or his son wants to go to use dad's taxi to go to a friend's house or whatever. Well, no problem. Here's the rules. All right. If you hoover up the dog hair or the carpet by 5 o'clock, I'll take you. No big deal. Now, usually most kids think they can push their luck, but that's a test. Just like gentlemen, have you ever been tested by your partner? Right? Yes, of course. Testing is inherent as part of the female energy makeup. Right? They will constantly test. Right? And it's just go listen to Straight Talk 9 again if you doubt that. Now, if it comes 5 o'clock and dad's taxi says, Dad, we're going to so I can't take him. Sorry. I said about the dog hair. You got 3 minutes to hoover up. Now, they may kick back and sulk or whatever, but that has zero to do with your emotional state. Can you feel the difference in terms of a calm laying of the rules? All right? It's like, well, you eat hamburgers, you get fat. Well, of course. It's not like, oh my God, you ate hamburgers and now you're fat. Well, no, but of course you eat hamburgers, you get fat. Right? Actually, it's more the bun that makes you fat. Yeah, says the carnivore. Right? But you get the idea. So coming at it from here's the rules, and there's penalties, and they start to associate the fact there's penalties. Yeah, you can't go on the iPad until you've bathed the dog. Pretty simple. Next, pass the salt. Yeah, I'll be in the kitchen if you need me. Oh, but Dad, I want the iPad. Oh, no big deal. The soap's there, the sink's there, the dog's there. Carry on. Have you taken the dog out for a walk today? Right. And so you've got the side where there is penalties away from motivation, and then there's positive reinforcement. It's like, wow, I saw you doing the carpet. That's a really good job you did there. You know something? Yeah, you've been after that new Apple Pencil. Let's go get it. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't have to be a financial reward. But if kids are very much like puppies, right? Smart puppies, right? Because they can try to figure out where the hole in the donut is to climb through. Right? But it's the same thing. The key here, Hayden, is for you to address your frustration. It's for you to say, what's triggering me? Because that's got nothing to do with the kid and the dog, I can promise you. What is it about that that's grinding my gears? What hooks me? What's the bait on the hook? And start looking at you, not looking at your kid, because it's easy to project or deflect. And then it's easy to offload that sense of inquiry into, it's all about my kids, so I don't have to do the work. Anyone played that game? Yeah, all of us. But when it comes to setting the rules, it can be pretty simple, right? If you don't brush your teeth, you get toothache, right? It's indifferent. Toothache doesn't hate you. It's not trying to make your life miserable. It's just a natural consequence of not brushing your teeth. But, you're not getting the iPad. It's not because I don't love you. It's not because I hate you. It's just a natural consequence of not cleaning up after the dog. Right, next question.